I can never remember much about my nightmares, but this one I can remember so clearly. It freaked me out for the last 3 days, and I can still remember it now. So I was an office drone working away at a keyboard. I was exhausted and wanted to go home back to my wife, but I still had a while left on my shift. Suddenly, the floor began to rot, and maggots crawled out of it. I was shocked, and I went to see my boss. He was panicking about it and trying to hide the fact. I pressed him on why, and he kept insisting that I go home. Eventually, I got really angry and punched him. He then dissolved into these weird, brightly colored snake worms that attached themselves to me, and I couldn't pull them off. Then, myself in the dream realized that he was in some kind of fake world. I realized that these snake creatures were a monster that was trying to eat my mind while I was asleep. And all of this hallucination was just a trap. It needed me to say, "I'm home," and then it would have me. The snakes started screaming at me to say it, and everything else started to turn into snakes. I also realized that the rot was happening because my subconscious had realized what it was doing and started to destroy my brain. So all I could do was wait until my brain was rotted away, or submit and say, "I'm home," and then I woke up. The story starts off with me at the doctor's office. I was apparently a surgeon with my assistant and one other surgeon in the room. Above me lay the blinds covering the windows. Across the room from me are plastic bags of human gore lying carefully on a table. I get to doing my surgery when I look to my left and see the other surgeon standing next to the bags, now having "I am in pain" written in huge bloody letters all over the bags of gore. My assistant opens the blinds above me to reveal giant billboards with the text, "I am in pain," with a picture of human gore next to it. I quickly command my assistant to close the blinds and ask the same of the other surgeon to my right. He ignores my request for about 5 seconds before saying, "Ashamed the level of pain that man is in," pointing at the door where my father stood. My father slams the door, and the nightmare is over. I had this dream like a couple of months ago. I had a dream where I was waiting outside for my school bus to pick me up. I was across the road from my house and it was foggy. I checked my pockets to make sure I had my bus pass, but I didn't. I ran back home to get it and the dream cut to me going back outside, and 3 buses waiting for me for some reason. Then I hear these kids screaming for their lives, and I look at the windows, they're all bloodied up. Then I go to the middle bus, and I see this tall, skinny alien humanoid female with gray skin, large black eyes, and long, messy hair beating up this one kid, which I couldn't see, with her sharp fingers. Then she rips out their intestines and slurped it up like spaghetti without eating it. Then she looks at me and starts chasing after me. For some reason, I ran the opposite way of where my house was. I ran for what felt like 30 seconds. Then I felt her grab my ankle and I tripped. My dream starts to fade out, and I could feel my arms and legs being ripped off, and I could hear myself screaming, and it sounded so genuine. I woke up and thought how cool it was. Every night before I go to bed, I watch scary videos or movies to induce nightmares. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Nightmares aren't that foreign to me. PTSD, etc., etc. Tonight I had a completely non-war themed nightmare. The dream started seemingly as a commercial for an exterior lighting company. Cue corny advertisement. Then it processed to the boss talking to a customer in California at their house about the process of digging World War II out a small plot of land to bury the wires and the light fixture. The land is marked off, then enter me in a red shirt and tan shorts with a shovel. I'm in my early 20s, and I've been employed by this company, and it's been my job to dig out the land and install the fixtures. I begin digging, and everyone else goes inside. As I'm digging near an AC unit, something possessed me to tap the hose with the tip of the shovel. I say something possessed me because I had no intention of doing it, and nothing occurred to make it make sense. After tapping the hose, I go back to digging, but a leak occurs. Immediately, the short-haired brunette wife comes out and is inquiring after what happened. I tell her the AC unit sprung a leak and explain that the shovel couldn't have done it. I, for some reason, tap my arm with the tip of the shovel, and she says that's why. Look, you're bleeding. I say no, that's just the water from the AC unit, and my skin has a red tint to it. She goes inside and fetches what I believe to be her husband, but turns out to be her father. He says, "Pack it up, you're done here," and goes inside. Now I'm panicking because my boss is going to be upset that we won't be getting paid, and I might get fired. Somehow we end up inside the house with the husband, wife, and my boss. I'm explaining what happened, and they keep refuting my story, claiming the unit is brand new, and that never would have happened. All the while the room keeps filling with more and more people. The gathering continues with them cracking beers, laughing, yelling, and staring at me until I realize I'm surrounded and begin to fear for my life. I try to edge back towards the exit, but realize I'm cut off. I flash back to stories of lynchings and realize I'm the only black person in the room. I wake up terrified. I think my uncomfortable feelings about white people stem from the fact that I'm actually terrified of them. I pretty much remember only 2 of them, but not fully. In the first dream, I was pregnant, like 9 months pregnant. I'm a 21-year-old college student, and that's the last thing I need with my life, with the amount of stress I go through. I felt so much anxiety and had so many questions. Why am I pregnant? Who's the father? Why now? I can't handle a kid. I don't feel ready. Not now. It's too early. This is all too much. And so on and so on. My mother is divorced since I was 10 and always wanted a fresh start, a husband, and more kids. In the dream, she told me to give birth to the child because she wanted him to be hers. I was paranoid. I didn't want any of it, but dreams are dreams, and time doesn't make any sense. There was a time skip. I woke up to find my mom forced an operation on me, a cesarean birth, while I was asleep. But the time skip was huge. The kid was around the age of 3. I woke up finding out about it through a huge scar I had throughout my stomach. I've never liked my looks, but not to an extent. In the dream, it went through a body dysmorphia, which I never experienced until that dream. It was insanely bad. I felt wrong. I felt like I shouldn't be in this body. I felt like everything is messed up, and I was overwhelmed. I woke up. It was horrifying, but it's only a dream. The next night, I had another nightmare. It started with me being in a huge-ass mall next to one of those bathroom entrances. There was a weird-looking sink, one of those that tends to be in military bases, combined with the cheap neon pink soap. I started washing my hands with the water and proceeded to pour a bit of the pink soap on my hands and scrub them, but something was wrong. My hands didn't react well with the soap. It was as if the soap was straight-up acid. My palm started melting, or, well, getting eaten by the acid. I wanted to cry so badly, but I tried to hold it. I sat down on the floor trying to hold my pain in, and a little voice in my head started fucking around with me. You gonna cry? Pathetic. You're doing it for attention. The pain isn't that bad. You're just seeking for attention, that's all. You're an attention seeker, that's all you are, and so on and so on. The pain calmed down and I healed my tears. I gave in to the voice. It's all that I am. The pain is an illusion I come up with. I stand up and calm myself down. A girl approaches me. I don't know her in real life, but in the dream it seemed like she was one of my classmates. She calls out for my name and tells me how pretty I am, and how beautiful my hair is. I disagree with her. I look okay, nothing special about me, but thanks. She keeps on going about how pretty my wavy hair is, and brushes her hands through my hair only to realize that chunks of it are in her hands now. We both panic. I brush my hand through my hair, and another chunk of hair is in my hand. I felt terrified of what just happened, and she tells me she knows a person who can help me. She takes me to a lady that works in a phone store on the second floor of the mall. The lady seems to be around the age of 40. I told her what had just happened, and she straight up says, oh no, you sweet child, this is not good. You have cancer. I start panicking and ask her if I can be saved. She tells me that she is a survivor herself. It's a 50-50 chance that either I will heal or I will die. I don't remember much after this part of the dream, other than realizing I'm being late for work. I come to work 5 hours late filled with anxiety. I have cancer. I'm late. This is all bad, like really bad. The second I enter the store I work in, I approach my manager and try to explain to her why I'm late, but I cannot. I feel the tears building up and some sort of pain that doesn't let me speak. I couldn't tell her what's up with me from the amount of fear I was going through. It took me a bit, but I managed to tell her that I have cancer and that's why I was late and how scared I am. She pretty much sent me home to rest and was like, get well, but next time you know you're going to be late, just tell me beforehand. I woke up being confused and horrified due to the fact that I had a nightmare for 3 days straight, one after another. I'm in a small bedroom with white dry walls and brown shaggy carpet. I've never seen this room, but I know it's mine. I look across the room to see someone lying on a twin bed, naked and masturbating. He's tall, portly, and like my surroundings, unfamiliar yet familiar. I feel like this has been a ritual of ours for some time, to the point where I'm falling for him. Now we are in an 80s style kitchen, making pancakes and watching the cartoon adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on an old portable TV. It's night and I feel stoned. We sit down at a small card table and he tells me that we are all doomed to be eaten. I say nothing. We are back in my bedroom. He asks me if I want some meth. I get up and walk over to him. He holds up a little baggie filled with small, blue, perfectly circular pebbles and pours some into my hand. Good shit, he says, and begins to fondle himself. I start to grab for his erection, but notice a rotten odor coming off him. I then hear my mother yelling for me to come into the kitchen. I walk in, and my mother, who is clearly Tim Curry in a dress, angrily points at the mess we made. The kitchen is God's home, she says sternly. I'm sorry, Mother, I said with my head down. We will clean it up. Then she gestures over my shoulder. And what about your poor sister? She asks. I hear heavy, phlegmy breathing and look behind me. My sister is an ultra-real cartoon with large eyes, a long, gaping mouth, and vulture-like shoulders that stretch past her head. My friend walks in while eating a double-decker peanut butter sandwich. He looks at my mother, who looks back with annoyance. I remember thinking that's a lot of bread. I walk back to the bedroom and pour the meth back into his bag, spilling most of it. I then go to a dimly lit living room. My friend is sitting in a recliner, his face hidden in the shadows. He's chewing on something crunchy. I sit down on a couch next to him. Where's my mother? I ask. Gone, he says. His voice sounds like he's talking to a fan. I look at him. His face is turning blue and his neck is swelling. He reminds me of a waterlogged corpse. "Are you okay?" I ask, alarmed. He stands up, looking into the hallway I came through. He's gotten taller and fatter. "I'm tired," he says, turning to look down at me. His eyes have turned milky. He falls on top of me, his bloated face inches from mine. I can feel myself begin to sink into his body. He opens his mouth, and little blue pebbles pour onto my face, blinding me. I can't breathe, and I'm screaming that I can't move my arms. That is when I wake up. My boyfriend and I had recently separated, so I'm alone in a nearly empty apartment. It's 2:45, and I've never felt so alone.